coming together, like bundling your auto and other policies together with an Allstate agent, which can save you time and keep you better protected. Let's give it up for good.
To receive your comparative insurance quote, contact the McDonald Agency at 622-2333.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Every morning we have a discussion with Galen Unold from Life South Community Blood Center. And, he comes on the air basically to remind us that if you donate blood, you'll save a life, or two or three in some cases, right? I think it depends. We signed up at Galen's urging. We signed up for the bone marrow registry as well. One thing I have not done that would also save a life, it's kind of hard to think about, but it's donating my organs in case I die.
Yes.
And even harder than trying to make that decision. Actually, that's not a hard decision, really. If you think about it, you're dead. You're not going to use them anyway, right?
I have that on my driver's license.
Do you really? See,
Yeah.
you're always one step ahead of me. Always one step ahead of me. But even harder than that would be if somebody you love had some organs that could be used, and you had to make that decision, especially if it was a child of yours. It's an important topic. Somebody's life can be saved by that one simple decision. Dr. Brooks Edwards is on the phone. He is a transplant cardiologist. He's worked with a lot of organs from people who no longer could use them and somebody else could. He's also the director of the William J. von Liebig Center for Transplantation and Clinical Regeneration at the Mayo Clinic. Wow, that just sounds, there's a whole bunch of questions just in his title. April is National Donate Life Month. Good morning, Dr. Edwards.
Good morning, Larry.
Where are you right now?
I'm in Rochester, Minnesota.
So when you transplant a heart, do you work with the person who died as well as the person who will receive the heart?
So I'm a cardiologist, and I direct our transplant center here at Mayo Clinic Rochester. We'll do about 1,000 transplants across the Mayo Clinic spectrum each year.
Wow.
I work with usually the recipients, the individuals who benefited from that life-saving donation.
Wow. And does the lifestyle of the donor matter? Because I think I'd be a good candidate. I don't smoke. I don't drink. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'd be good or not, but
yeah, you would be.
You would think. You'd think I'd be good.
Sure.
I'm not pickling anything.
So certainly, lifestyle affects all of us and our lives, but it's hard to make a blanket statement about whether somebody had a healthy lifestyle or not, whether they're donors. So we encourage people who want to be donors to identify themselves, to sign their driver's license as a donor, to tell their family. And then ultimately, if they're in a situation where they become brain dead and their organs could be used, then they become assessed whether they're suitable or not. Sometimes it may be that a heart may not be suitable, but the kidneys may be very good kidneys and so on.
Right. Now, my notes say that you are going to tell us the results of a survey. What was the survey asking, and what did you learn from it?
Right. So we surveyed individuals across the country to look at their attitude toward organ donation. And we were pleased that right now in America, about 66%, so two-thirds of individuals would like to be organ donors if the situation arose that they had died and their organs could be used. And that number has actually increased 5% over the last 2 years. So we think that the message of organ donation, the ability to save lives, impact lives, getting out there.
And this is a hard subject to ask about, but do you fill out a form or something for your children as well? God forbid?
Yeah, so usually not.
No, okay.
If you're 18, then oftentimes, interestingly, the teenage children have had a conversation with their parents. If they have a driver's license, they've oftentimes made that choice when they sign up for their driver's license. If they're younger than that, it's really the parents' choice to donate organs. But having done this for over 25 years, I'll tell you that I've worked with and met with a lot of donor families, and when there's a tragic death, and a tragic death of a young person, an unexpected death, it's just a terrible, difficult situation for everyone. When they make a decision to donate organs, it doesn't undo that tragedy, but it inserts some positive, some good things come of it. And I've never met an organ donor family that has regretted the decision. In fact, quite the opposite. The organ, as the years go by, they find that as a very comforting thought, and they oftentimes know that the organ, heart, lung, liver, kidney, pancreas, and then tissues like bone and skin and cornea have gone to individuals that sometimes as many as 60 individuals can benefit from organ donor. So it's a powerful gift.
So you've been doing it 25 years, you said. Do you, I guess two questions in one. Are there some organs or some body parts that now can be transplanted but couldn't before? We didn't have the technology. And I guess the other question, just is more broad, what exactly has changed because of technology?
Right. So, yes, certainly organ transplant is evolving. And, for example, at Mayo Clinic, we're now beginning a hand and face transplant program for individuals who've lost limbs and have had deforming face injuries that aren't amenable to conventional reconstructive techniques. But you're right, technology has advanced. It's advanced in many ways to help support patients as they await transplant and to provide a better long-term outcome. So, for example, in our hands at Mayo Clinic right now, the survival after a heart transplant is 95%, 1-year survival, and patients get back to active, productive lives and really benefit from that gift that was oftentimes a difficult decision to make, but at the same time, a life-saving decision.
Liver transplants are very, very fascinating to me because I've heard that they will transplant part of a liver from one person to another because the liver will then regenerate itself?
Right. The liver has an amazing capacity to regenerate. So our surgeons will remove about half of a donor liver from a living recipient. Usually it's a family member. And within 6 weeks, 90% of that liver has regrown.
Wow.
So it's a wonderful gift, and it helps a loved one who's in need. Living kidney donation is more common and tremendously important. In our program, about 75% of our kidney transplants actually come from living donors. That means that patients don't have to wait on a long list for an unknown time until a donor becomes available. If they have a family member, a friend, a coworker, and even an altruistic donor. So we have at Mayo Clinic donors who come forward every year who say, I've got 2 kidneys and I really only need one. I'm willing to donate if you have a good recipient. And we certainly always have those in need, and that can oftentimes lead to a chain of donations. So very gratifying.
Oh, wow. We have only 1 minute left, so I want the listeners to know how to find out more information. Do you have a website that they can go to?
I encourage people to go to a national website called donatelife.net, donatelife.net, to learn about organ donation, to sign up to be an organ donor, and then the mayoclinic.org website, mayoclinic.org. You can learn more about transplantation and even sign up if you wanted to be one of those altruistic kidney donors.
Wow, that's something else. Thank you so much for being on the air to help us understand this. And Robin is already signed up. Where'd you do that, at the Department of Motor Vehicles?
Yeah, on your driver's license, you have an option.
Oh, I never knew that. Maybe I checked and didn't realize it.
You could have.
Dr. Brooks Edwards, thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back. You're listening to The Source, WOCA. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by MyFWC.com. Safe boating is no accident. More clouds and sunshine for today with a shower or thunderstorm this afternoon or this evening. High between 85 and 87.